Hey, Lucky Captain Jack here, bringing you my first look at the Nagato. It's not technically my first look, just like none of these are for my first looks. It's actually your first look. So let's talk about Nagato, Tier 6 Japanese battleship. 410mm guns, and there's 8 spread into 4 double gun turrets. Reload time on the guns is just over 30 seconds, 31.7, but of course you can chop that down with Commander Perk. AAA defense nobody really cares about. Maneuverability is what you really need to worry about. It ain't that fast, 25.8 knots, and it takes forever for the rudder to shift. So just like every other BB, you kind of got to know what you're doing ahead of time. Now here's an important screen: concealment, 12 kilometers from the air, almost 15 at sea, and if you're firing even within smoke, it's still 14.4. So they're going to see you from a long way out. But let's get started. Here we are, domination match on north. We are spawning on the A end. A couple of teammates here, and so hey, you never know what you're gonna get, right? It's actually teammates that I can communicate with, at least one of them. One buddy spawned with me at A, and they spawned one of my buddies over at B. I'll never really understand why they split up a division like that, but it's probably something about the choice of ships we made, since we're all in battleships. You know, maybe they try to spread the love across to all 3 spawns. I mean, anybody who's played this game for longer than 10 minutes will realize that spawns, well, hell, and the balance of ships is one of those things that they do need to work on. It's been said in the forums that if you're unhappy with the balance of ship types per battle, for example, 5 battleships per team, as you see in this battle, that keep saying it loudly enough in the forums, and it might be something that they'll look at finding a balance to. So anyhow, I digress. Alright, so instead of plowing down toward A, it looks like everybody has abandoned A, and we're all going to start converging on B and C. And right away, first thing we spot, at least that we can fire at, King George, a pair of King Georges. And then there's a couple of destroyers and what looks like another battleship over there at C. So of the Georges, one's heading to our left and one's heading to our right, so we'll take a look at the rightmost guy and get a couple rounds ahead of him. What we didn't see was that there is a third King George.
The ship is on fire.
Starting to look like triplets out here, and the guy on the left, after we fired, had a great view of us. Well, now he has our attention as well as that of our buddies, so we're going to start messing around with these guys. King George going from our left to our right. You see a 7-second lead time. I'm trying to look at the island and see exactly how much distance that George is covering over those 7 seconds, so that I can get some rounds off the right distance ahead of him. And sure enough, rounds are fired away, and let's see, they disappear altogether. So he must have turned or something, and we splashed our whole salvo. Nothing more fun than splashing your whole salvo. But we're going to move on to the other King George, assuming, and you can see right in front of us is one of my teammates. We turned just sharply enough to miss him, but in doing so managed to get clipped by our own cruiser. It was almost a big knot of 100,000 ton ships, which is fun because the enemy would have plenty to shoot at, and it wouldn't matter which of the 3 they fired at, they'd hit one of us. But anyhow, we were able to avoid a collision with the battleship and just got glanced by the cruiser. No big deal. Time to start firing this stuff. We were going to fire at the Nuremberg, but as you see, he got policed up by our Galissonier. So, time to go back to one of the Georges. And here's a perfect George right here. 7.5 second flight time. Probably didn't lead him quite as well as we could have, but I was in a hurry to get my shots off and only ended up clipping the back end. But as you see, clipped the back end for, one of them was for 13,000, the other was for 8, so 21,000 of his hit points right there. And at tier 6, you know, that's at least a third of his health. It looks like more like 40% of his health. So hey, I was feeling pretty good. 27,000 damage we're up to so far. Now you got the 2 Georges pushing each other, and just like I said a minute ago, in the knot work of metal, we're just going to fire at the center point and see what we can hit. So New Mexico and George each take some rounds, I think, and now we're all of a sudden, blink of an eye, we're up to 42k. Still haven't gotten a kill, but that's okay. The game isn't just about kills, it's a team sport, right? So everybody should be seeking to do what is best, not only for themselves but for the team. That's just good business, you know. It's when you see people getting selfish and deciding, oh, I need to run up and get my caps because it's all about capture the flags, you know, domination matches and whatnot. You just see, here we are, 5 minutes into a battle almost. Nobody's captured any of the points because everybody's actually working together to eliminate the enemy. That doesn't happen very often. It's kind of a gem when you run into a group of people who are able to do that. It's really refreshing. Anyway, so we're trying to see what we still have left that we can actually fire at. Our rounds aren't going to come back quite quickly enough to shoot at the New Mexico, but our old friend the Georges are still there, and one's about to die. He's flooding and about to catch a torpedo. Actually ends up dodging the torpedoes, or they died right as they got there. You know, everybody's favorite. And so we fire at the other guy, and which is good, you know, because it looks like that guy would have died before our rounds got there in the first place, which is, God, nothing more frustrating than waiting 30 seconds for a salvo and you fire it at somebody and they're dead before your rounds get there. And that irritates me, but that's okay. Alright, so we're heading towards C. We got the destroyer there that's capping it. He doesn't really see anybody, so what we're ultimately trying to do is hook around the tail end of this, you know, kind of pork chop shaped dial here, and that way we can see the battleships that we know are still sitting back there, and there was 3 of them in the cruiser. And so while the destroyer goes up and keeps everything spotted, we are steaming our way around. You know, again, I pointed out earlier, Nagato only caps out at like 27 knots, something like that. 25.9 is what we're doing now, and it doesn't look like we're about to speed up anymore. So maybe 25.9 is what it was. But anyhow, so here we go, trying to get that guy around the corner so that we can fire at whatever is there. Our Mayhan has popped up some smoke, which is great for him because it obscures the enemy from seeing him. It's not so great in that it doesn't allow him to see them. I don't know if you guys have watched any tutorials about how smoke works, but not only does it keep the enemy from seeing what's in the cloud and what's immediately behind the cloud, it prevents the friendlies from seeing through it either, without some sort of radar or one of your hydroacoustic consumables, something to that effect. Otherwise, you're just as lost in the sauce as the other guys are. Alright, so we fire our guns. We don't manage to wipe out the New Orleans. We don't manage to wipe out the New Mexico. And now we're stuck waiting almost 30 seconds to get our stuff back, but meanwhile our teammates faring perhaps a little better than we are, and are able to continue piling the damage on, chipping away at him until there ain't that much left. So you see the New Orleans is about dead. Only we decided to fire a round at him, which works out in our favor, because then we have 3 rounds to shoot the New Mexico. And these look good too. So bam, almost took him out, almost the double kill, but don't end up walking away with it, which is okay. Our teammates kicked in and did their part. So now we're up to 71,000 damage, and there's still 2 ships, and as you saw, at least one of them is mostly full health. That's still a lot of damage left on the board, a lot of pain we can still inflict. So once again, here you catch me having to sail the long way, the wrong way, around an island, and to try to get myself into some sort of position where I can actually do something. For once, it's like I am becoming that guy that I like to holler at on my team. What the hell are you doing back there? You can't possibly contribute to the fight from then, you know. And I later learned that, well, the reason it looks like the guy's on one side of the map when nobody is fighting him is because he was so busy doing stuff and killing all the ships on one side of the map while I was on the other, that it just looks like he's over there up to no good, just wasting everybody's time. But In fact, he was wiping out whatever was on his side of the ship, and you get to that end screen, and you're like, man, these guys didn't do nothing. And then you check out the scoreboard, and it's like, oh damn, that guy wiped out 4 ships, and I was talking a bunch of shit. But anyway, I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. But anyhow, alright, so now we're starting to get to the place where the moment these battleships show up, you see they're right on the cusp of being in range. So, we're getting to a place where it's time to start turning the guns and looking to see, what can be done. I don't know whether I'm checking my phone here or what the hell is going on, because I'm not making any attempt whatsoever to get my guns pointed in the direction that they should be. It happens. Hell, I've been known to get up in the middle of a match while I'm sailing from point A to point B and, go fix a drink, go grab a snack. I mean, what else are you going to do when you're sailing halfway across the world like this? And so now it appears that we're back, at least angling the camera around, and we're well within range of firing at the King George. So let's fire at the King George. Oh look, the twins. They're still around. There were triplets, and now they're down to twins. And let's pop some rounds off at them. So we fire some rounds, decide for whatever reason to check the map, and manage to hit with a handful. Now we're up to 85k. I really do like the Nagato, despite the fact that those rounds take 31 seconds to reload. I mean, and like I said previously, you can chip away at that a little bit. So anyway, we see King George is coming to a stop. You know damn well what's coming after that. He thinks that it's in his best interest to start reversing and try to get back behind that island, presumably. But it is not in his best interest, and we make him pay. Getting a high caliber medal out of it, hitting for yet another citadel, and again, leaving him with so little damage that I think one of our other guys sneezed on him and he was gone. And that just leaves the last guy. Here we are, 109,000 damage. Got a slew of torpedoes coming at him, but it looks like he's probably moving fast enough, but he's not going to catch him. So I guess it's up to us. Fire some more rounds. George starts turning away, but we angle the rounds just enough that at least it looks like we got a again chance, and bam! Hit him with another 3, up to 123,000 damage. So you can see the Nagato, good solid ship, 410 millimeter guns, 410 of them in fact. And once again, I decided to send this guy an invite. You know what? He never did join my team, so that was frustrating. But again, we led the ship last time, really good salvo, so no reason to believe that we can't hit him again. Oh, yes there is, our teammates, once again. As I said, nothing more frustrating than getting a beautiful salvo fired and watching somebody else hit him first because their rounds were coming from a lot shorter distance. Anyway, good solid win, only a single kill, but 120,000 damage. I'll take 100k rounds anytime. High caliber. Walk away in second place, probably because that Mahan probably hit him with a, just a buttload of torpedoes. But anyway, guys, hey, I'm Lucky Captain Jack. Thanks for coming aboard. Glad to have you all with me. Hope to see you out there. And until then, fair wind and following seas. This is Lucky Captain Jack, and I am